Hey, what's up, everyone? Oh, I forgot to put this back on. Welcome to Normal America Show. I'm your host, robnoerr. Doing a little test. I know I look a little dark here, but this actually looks decent. Like, my camera that I have here looks decent, which is what I'm going for. So let me tell you a little what I'm doing. It is a test. Test. That's all I'm doing. So if you're someone who doesn't want to help me, you can head out now because this is going to be a boring stream. Hello, EOR. I really appreciate you being here. So if you're new or don't know me, yeah, thanks so much. I got a new computer, a PC that I'm traveling with. I got this monster case, bag that I put it in to travel with. It's a big computer, but some of the equipment I don't travel with because it's sort of attached to my desk at my office at home. So I have an inferior camera and microphone here, and I wanted to test that out to make sure that it was working. Unfortunately, a little darker than I would like, but you have to understand this is a situation where I don't have access to good lighting and stuff like that. It's out of my control because it's sort of not a room that I could mess with by the nature of where I'm at. So I think that this quality, though, of my streams that will occur not at home is far superior than what I was expecting. So what I was wondering from you all is, how is the picture quality and the audio quality? Is it acceptable? Is it too distracting that I'm a little darker than you? Thank you, EOR. I know, like, Jordan and Tainted have been here quite some time, have been following me. The audio is good. I just have a simple blue snowball. It is a little dark, I know. I couldn't make it any lighter without turning, like, the auto filters on, and the auto filters made it way blurrier, and it made me, like, choppy when I moved. Now it looks like I'm moving pretty natural, so I think I'm willing to accept a little darker for, all I have is an overhead light here, and there's nothing really I could do. Maybe I could get some backdrop lighting. Good. And obviously it's a little annoying that there's a bed behind me, but I got this little dinky room, and it's the only place that I could stream. So hopefully people could get over that. And one of the reasons that I'm testing is, unfortunately, this coming Saturday, it appears as if I've got called into work. And so that's my arena show. So the question is, will I be able to do the arena with this background? It'll look unprofessional. But what's the alternative? Not doing the show, I guess. So, I'm just going to have to make do. It is the unfortunate nature of having a full-time job. Yeah, Jordan will moderate then. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So I don't have scenes set up yet, so I can't, like, for example, if I switch to this, because I didn't set the camera up on that window capture yet. So, but that's fine. I'll get that taken care of. EOR says I don't have the energy for all this. Few do. But no, I think this. What do I want to talk about tonight? Testing for my stream. That's about it. I'm gonna have to get to bed. I can't stay up too late. So just to let people know, I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow night. I planned on it, but the Crucible's doing a super show, and I might support that by tuning in. That's going to be on the Crucible. It's going to be an 8-hour show, so maybe I won't stream because it would overlap with it. I'm sure Andrew wouldn't care, but that's not the issue. Tuesday, I'll definitely try to stream here. I will be setting up a sort of fundraising stream to help pay for this computer because it really has set me back in a considerable way, and it's not fair to my wife or my son to spend money on it's sort of a luxury item like this new computer. All told, I think I spent about $1,200 on the computer and then bought the parts and put it together myself. Maybe a little more than that, maybe around $1,300. So I'll be trying to recoup some of that through a 16-hour stream or something that I'll set up some Saturday. We'll probably end it with that episode of the arena that evening, but I'll try to have some segments and things like that. And we'll do a little fundraiser, see if I can't raise $300-400 or something like that in that day to go into this computer. But no one wants to talk about that shit. So, yeah, the computer is related to the sub goal up top. So I ended up buying the computer. I figured if I got to 3,000 subs, that would cover the computer. I only got one monitor. I would like to have 3 monitors. I want to buy a StreamYard subscription. I want to buy a subscription to some editing software to pay for my subscription to Twitter Blue, which I'm going to start using more, and my Rumble subscription that I have to pay to be able to live stream there. So yeah, that's what that goal was. That subscriber goal was meeting that computer. But I did purchase it, and then I figured we'll raise money for it as we go then. So I'm very happy with it so far. The only thing I've noticed is that it occasionally was flickering green. I think that might be my camera or my camera software, because I have a different camera here and I haven't seen it flicker yet. So that gives me an idea of what the potential problem might be. But I'm pretty happy with this cheaper. It's a Logitech C920. I think the quality is acceptable. It's obviously not superior, but a huge part of that's I just don't have the lighting. So, you know, for what it is, I don't think this is bad. I think this is acceptable, and I think I have an awesome audience that understands when I'm not at my home office, you know, the quality will lag a little. But I am trying to up my production value and things like that. So we'll do some slightly different types of streams on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm getting that all worked out. But we're going to do different themed shows each day of the week. So debate reviews on one day, and then just my normal type show on another day, and then some other ideas. Maybe I'll have a guest that doesn't necessarily disagree with me, that we just chat up once a week or something like that. So I'm trying to do more consistent shows like that. Oh, you meant during lockdowns online. That's cool. But yeah, that's about it. Good. The chat's lag free. That's good. I'm not streaming on Rumble right now. I know there's been problems with the Rumble chat. That's another thing that I'm trying to work out. So, but it is what it is. So, all right. I thank you all so much for being here. I do have to get. I got some work to do tonight, and I do have to get to bed. But I just wanted to test this to see if I am streaming later in the week here. Hopefully. Thank you, EOR. Thank you, Phil, Jordan, all of you. I really appreciate it. I have a tremendous audience. What I want to talk about either tonight, Monday or Tuesday, is the debates that we had this weekend. One on Connor's panel, and then the one I moderated. Talk a little about that. I wanted to talk about the Scott Adams situation with him getting canceled. I wanted to talk about something I saw last week that I really didn't get an opportunity to talk about, and that was this like Nazi guy in Florida that was standing on the street corner yelling about Jews and stuff, and how that was a big story for leftists. Oh, look what Ron DeSantis allowed. But apparently they didn't have any problem with the New York Times writing puff pieces on the Black Hebrew Israelites that was writing, they're in street corners around the country, shouting their homophobic, racist diatribes, black nationalists. You know, no one said, oh, that's Cuomo's fault as governor of New York that they're there. Or that's Muriel Bowser's fault in D.C. that they're there. And, like, no one said that. But all of a sudden, someone says hateful stuff in Florida, and it's, oh, that's DeSantis' fault. And it just goes to show the game. Yeah, the Department of Energy lab leak. I mean, there's not really more to that, though. I mean, the FBI already came out and said that they had high confidence, that they thought that it was a lab leak. Now the Department of Energy, and of course the cope from the lefties is, well, there's still 4 agencies that are saying natural causes most likely. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, more and more we're seeing. The key is this. This is what's important, and I'll talk about that. Remind me tomorrow, Jordan, I'll talk about that. It doesn't matter if at the end of the day we find out it was from a lab or it was from natural causes. It spread through animals, right? It doesn't matter for the biggest point, which is this. They told you that it was a conspiracy that had been debunked, that it could have came from a lab, and they censored you for saying that. And it was never debunked. Technically, you could say it was a conspiracy, depending on how you define that word, but the natural leak theory is also an equal conspiracy. Now, my belief, looking at the evidence as a layman, as I was able to do, And just thinking it through, it seemed more suspicious and highly likely that it came from a lab that we knew happened to be weaponizing and using gain of function on coronaviruses. That always seemed like the most likely scenario when you looked at the spike protein, the furin cleavage site, all of those things. As a layman, I'm admitting, but also when you just think about it, like, what are the chances that this animal situation occurred right where this lab was, now we know, doing the exact same type of research that would lead to this? Oh, by the way, a lab that we'd been warned about previously that had very lax safety standards. What are the chances? And yet, it doesn't matter if that's what I believe that the evidence at this point suggests, that it's more likely that it came from a lab. That seems to make the most sense and seems to be where the evidence is pointing. But I'm open to seeing new evidence. I'm not going to definitively say this is the end-all be-all. It's been debunked that it could have came from natural causes, so we should censor the people saying the natural theory. That's ludicrous. That's not what science is. That's not what I want. I don't want people censored, but that's what they wanted. That's what the left wanted. That's what Fauci wanted. That's what they wanted. And it worked. They censored people. They controlled that conversation going into the 2020 election. So unlike them, I'm not going to say, my mind's made up, I won't listen to any more evidence. I'm not going to say that. And it could very well be. I don't think it's likely, but certainly there's a possibility, a 1 in 4 chance, something, I don't know, just spitballing here, that we'll find out, wait, here's more evidence. It did come from natural sources. That could be. That could happen. But it was never debunked that it came from a lab. And they wanted it to be debunked, and they wanted to censor you, not because they sincerely believed that it was debunked, but because they knew the ramifications. Remember, the original letter that was cited all over the place to say it was the lab leak theory was debunked was written by Peter Daszak at EcoHealth Alliance. He's the one who got the grant from Dr. Fauci at the NIH to do this sort of research at the Wuhan lab. So they have skin in the game. And they were like, oh, it's debunked. No, it couldn't have came from that lab. Right, because they were giving money for these very projects to that lab. So if it comes out, oh, it escaped from that lab, that doesn't look good for Fauci and Peter Daszak. That's why they wanted it censored. And all of these little leftist lemmings like the guy I was dealing with on Twitter earlier today, perfectly fine with it. They're fine with it. That's okay. That's okay. We should have censored it. It seemed to be censored. But boy, oh boy, they'll jump out now. Hey, make sure it's still not proven that it came from a lab. Even if this comes out, it's still just a theory. That's not what they were saying when we were censoring the lab leak theory and saying it was debunked. They weren't saying that. They weren't saying, whoa, this is outrageous. It's not been proven. And let me say this real quickly. If it did come from a lab, which looks increasingly likely, remember, the very people that we relied on as our saviors and heroes, we were told by the establishment, like Dr. Fauci, to help us get away from this, to help solve this crisis, were those most responsible for the creation of the problem in the first place. This happens all the time, by the way. They create the problem, and then they say, well, you need us to fix the problem. All the time that happens. You will be painted, and I will be painted as xenophobic towards China if I want to talk about it coming from a lab leak. Remember, they said it was racist. Their claim was as follows. If you think that it came from a lab in China, that makes you racist against Chinese people. Instead, what you should think is a bunch of backwards, caveman-like Chinese people ate raw bats at a food market and didn't use proper hygienic processes. That's the non-racist position. Get it? That's what they want you to believe. But to me, it's not just criticizing China. It's also criticizing the leadership of the United States and Dr. Fauci and EcoHealth Alliance and the other people in our government and our scientific community that were doing gain-of-function routines in the Wuhan lab and providing money for it. So it's not just like, well, for blaming the Wuhan lab, that's just putting all the blame on China. No, that's also putting the blame on people in the United States. In fact, if I was another country that wasn't China or the United States, I'd be doubly pissed at both of them. Great, glad you guys finally came together on something, creating a virus that was then used as an excuse for lockdowns and other things that led to one of the largest transfers of wealth from the poor and working class to the upper class that we've seen in history. Thanks a lot, United States and China. I'm sure, no hard feelings though, right? No hard feelings. So that's what they'll tell you. You're xenophobic, you believe it. Oh my God, you're xenophobic. You're all just a bunch of crazy xenophobes. I wonder why no one in the Biden administration sought to criticize China. They've criticized China for an awful lot. Show me them criticizing them for COVID. One of the first things Biden did was stop the task force that Trump had set up to investigate the origins of COVID. I wonder why. Maybe because if it was public knowledge and definitively proven that this came from a lab in China, maybe China would say, okay, well, if that's the case, weren't you funding it? What's the United States going to say? Well, we didn't know. Really? Peter Daszak from Eco Health Alliance, he was announcing an audio in 2019. Oh, yeah, this is what we're doing to coronaviruses in the Wuhan lab. He knew. Fauci seemed to know. Is that how the leadership of the United States, is that the high horse they're going to get on? Well, okay, we funded this lab, and we knew that their safety protocols were really shitty, but we didn't know that they were going to release, this virus would be released. No shit. China supporting Russia now, so the lab leak's okay to say. Yeah, that's true too. But now it's interesting. We'll talk about it more tomorrow evening. But the way they try to frame this debate, right? Remember, you don't have to prove that it came from a lab. All you have to do is prove that it was always plausible that it came from a lab. And those that were advocating censorship had skin in the game. They wanted to censor that because they knew it made them look bad. And millions of people, particularly on the left and on the Democrat side of the equation, were perfectly fine being silent on or embracing that censorship because they thought you were a crazy conspiracy theorist and we had to censor disinformation and you were a xenophobe who hated China. Meanwhile, they basically said Chinese people were backwards and ate wild animals at open air markets and didn't use proper hygiene. That was okay for them to say. That was okay. Right? That's fine. That's not racist. That's okay. But me saying, yeah, the people of China, they're screwed over as well. I'm not blaming the people of the United States, me, you, my neighbors. Thank you so much, Neely. I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming the people of the United States. I'm blaming Fauci and the NIH and the people in government that cover it up. That's who I would blame. Just like I'm not blaming the people of China. I'm not saying they're a bunch of backward savages that, don't know how to properly cook food and are eating wild animals. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the people of China are bad. I'm saying their government was involved in heinous shit as they have been before, and it looks like in part in collaboration with people in the United States government. How does that make me xenophobic? But that's how they'll try to frame it. So when you're dealing with these things, just remember. Well, Peter Daszak could say that he's glad the blocking of funding for gain of function was made public. He could say that. I don't have the source in front of me now, but he was publicly admitting that they were doing. What they're going to do is just like what the Twitter execs, the former ones, did, right? About shadow banning. They're like, well, we define shadow banning differently. That's what Fauci and Daszak are. Well, okay, were we messing with coronaviruses to make them more infectious or more lethal? Yeah, we were doing that, but we don't consider that gain of function. That's not how we define gain of function. So we'll talk about that a little tomorrow. Though we talked about it now. So, all right, I'm gonna end the stream because I do have some stuff to do this evening. But I'm glad it seems like the mic quality is going good. The camera quality is good enough. So I'm very happy for that. Thank you all for your continued support. I know that my production values haven't been the best. When I've not been in my home office, I haven't even had a camera to be streaming. So I really do appreciate it. Consider throwing me a little clams, bones, or what have you. If you have any to try to recoup my losses. It's not even really the money you're donating now. It's not even really to my fat ass, right? It's actually for my wife and for my kid in that they're the ones for me to get new toys like this, to spend a bunch of money on a computer, they're the ones that end up losing out, right? Because that's money that I can't spend on them. So, hopefully we, Ukraine debate, go watch my debate Friday. It's on YouTube. Go check it out, Goku. I can talk. Ask me tomorrow. I'm wrapping up right now, or I would talk. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm for the United States trying to broker a peace deal. I'm not for continuously sending money to be laundered in corrupt ways that will continue this war going, which will lead to more deaths of Ukrainians and Russians. I'm not for that. So, no problem, Goku. No. I happen to be wrapping up, that's all. So, but I'll happily answer any questions. And I did the second hour of the debate that I did on Connor Point's channel that's up on my YouTube. It should be the last YouTube video I did. We talk a lot about Ukraine, so you can kind of see my points there a little more. So, all right, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. I'll happily accept your money, but I also accept, even if you can't send money. I wish I could send money to people. I can't. I'm broke as a joke. So, I totally get it, and I just appreciate everyone's support. It's humbling that people want to listen to me, no matter how many people it is. It really does mean a lot. So thank you all so much. You'll either see me tomorrow evening. If you don't see me tomorrow evening, remember, 8 hours tomorrow. I don't know what time it starts, maybe like 3 p.m. Andrew Wilson's going to be on the Crucible doing a super show. So consider checking that out, and maybe I'll call into that show, and so I won't really be doing a live stream. And then I should definitely be streaming Tuesday night, though. So, I know, Goku. Thanks, Biden. I too am getting brokered by the day, but I'm up to working like 70 hours a week now. So it is what it is. No sense bitching about it. I got a family to support, so sitting here whining is not going to help. I'll just work more. That's what I'll do. So thank you so much. I will stay cute, Ranger and Rogue. You guys are the best. As always, have a good one.